This is Young Gun, a podcast about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. I am Dimitri Ravanas, a Bama grad. She is Lauren Brownlow, the biggest Carolina Panthers fan I know, and we are following the team with a microscope on its franchise quarterback. Before we get started, as always, we do have to tell you about our friends at Graffiti, the perfect place to watch football every single Sunday. 19 TVs, weekly prizes. You can throw axes while watching football. There are always specials on Bourbon Pours, Blanton's for $10, Eagle Rare and Angel's Envy, both for $9. And then McKenna 10-year, Heaven Hill 7-year, and Buffalo Trace all go for $8 a pour. Weekly prizes with their Pick'em contest. You are not going to miss any of the action. 158 East Cedar Street in downtown Cary. Change your mind about what Graffiti is. It is more than just a high-end bar with art on the walls and axes in the air.
Although the art is rad.
The art is very rad. Did you know they change the art every month?
Yes.
Like, I think, like...
Except the Michael Scott thing. I think it's been there the whole time. The Michael Scott and the bandana.
You mean Prison Mike?
Thank you. There you go. I forgot what he was called, and I didn't want to make a name up for that.
Yeah, he's afraid of Dementors. I knew that, but then the last time I was in there, it dawned on me that, like, this is nothing like what it was at Lauren's birthday party.
Yeah, they change it up all the time. It's awesome, and the art's really cool.
All right, thank you to everybody that watches the show on YouTube or hears it on your favorite podcast platform. Don't forget, we are on Origin Sports every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Lauren Brownlow.
Yes.
Another loss. 21-13. Was Bryce
like
too short
sands
this week?
Through the hourglass.
It really is. Even when they were up 10-0, no part of me thought they're going to win this game.
I did a little. I don't know why.
Lord, you fool.
Well, it was Kirk Cousins, to be fair.
Sure, but it was Kirk Cousins not in primetime.
Well, I mean, I'd already watched him throw multiple picks, including one in which he got popped on, which I've watched on repeat a lot.
Yes.
What is he doing?
I don't know. My
you
son,
know how much money you're worth, sir?
My son thought that was the funniest moment he maybe has ever seen in an NFL game. All right, we're going to come back to Kirk. Let's talk about Bryce real quick. Was he too short this week?
I mean, yeah, like literally that happened.
On that scoop and score, he was a tiny, tiny boy.
Looked like he was trying to score on Shaq.
Yes. Yes.
As a child.
I think I thought the first drive and the third drive were the two wild spectrums of Bryce we have seen this year, because even though, they put together this long drive and it frustratingly ends in a field goal to open the game, their first offensive drive, he still looked in command. The team was running the ball really well. The offensive line was giving him time to make plays. And then the third drive, holy Jesus, like that was awful, top to bottom, by everybody on the field, but he did not even look like he knew what he was doing out there at times.
No, that drive was the saddest. I'm looking back on my notes I sent you, because I send Dimitri my very much stream of consciousness notes every week that are usually not at all safe for work or this podcast.
We should start a Patreon page just so I could charge people to see your notes.
All the creative ways I say, the F word in a given.
Right.
But I wrote to start that drive out. I guess I don't feel good.
Yes, that's the only way you can describe that. I don't know if
they also did a sad Sanders run, which I should copyright.
They did
a sad Miles Sanders run on 2nd and 7 on that drive for nothing, for no yards, Dimitri, for 0, because almost all of his runs go for 0 or 1 or -1. So why do you continue to run into the wall?
His first 5 carries of the game, how many yards do you think Miles Sanders had?
0.
5.
Oh.
A yard per carry.
I thought maybe the negatives would...
It was so like night and day between him and Chuba Hubbard when they had the ball in this game.
They did give Chuba more carries, although still, honestly, by the last, you saw how broken I had become by the final drive when they continued to run Miles Sanders up the middle.
Yep.
And he fell forward, sadly, sometimes not even forward.
Yeah.
I know the O-line isn't great. I'm not blaming all of this on Miles Sanders. I am blaming it on the play callers who continue to run the play over and over again. It's literally setting them back so much. You can't have a play where you get 0 yards with this offense. You just can't.
100%. There only seem to be 4 plays in this playbook, and that's why I kind of wanted to talk about an SSR,
sad Sanders run,
a Chuba Hubbard off between tackle and guard,
a Chuba Hubbard Woo!
Yes.
That's usually the noise I make after his run. Woo!
Bryce uncorking one down the field.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or a screen, which, by the way, like 65% of the playbook seems to be screens. And I wonder.
That feels conservative.
Yes.
Like people were tweeting and calling them the Carolina Screenthers.
Yes, that feels right. Do you think that is about Reich not trusting Bryce Young, or do you think that's about Reich not trusting the offensive line?
Maybe he just thinks they're great play calls. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, look, there was some good to come of it, right? Like, I think that is as effective as they use Terrence Marshall all year.
Yeah, for sure. And Chuba can get, even Sanders has been able to have more success off the screens and the dump offs when he's like, the emergency option than he does running it in the traditional way.
Yes, 100%.
So perhaps you do that and we call it a pass, but we can think of it as a run between ourselves.
To me,
if you want,
it's crazy that they even run him up the middle, because that is how Philadelphia used him last year in the best season of his career.
Right.
I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And I don't understand, frankly, a lot of what they're doing or not doing. I don't really get it, because like the other part of it too is like that game ends. And then all of a sudden, what begins? The Eagles Commanders game. And you got a guy like in Sam Howell who, maybe is figuring things out. He ends up leading them on like a game tying drive, but Ron Rivera, we all knew he wasn't going for two. The riverboat is alive, people. I'm sorry. Or he's using it ironically, which he's not. But that's how I take it now. It's just a name at this point.
Can I this is something I've never.
But they figured out a way to make something work on offense, despite not having a lot of the issues the Panthers do.
I want to ask you a question, and this is like not just to you, my friend Lauren, who is a Panthers fan. This is to Panthers fans in general. Can we accept that Ron Rivera is not a good coach?
Oh, I already knew that.
Oh, okay, all right.
The what made Ron great was nothing about like his X and O. Anyway,
what made Ron great?
He did not care about hiring a coordinator to defer to on offense. He just didn't care. He never bothered his ego. Even the defensive coordinator, to give tons of credit to, he was okay with letting people delegate, for one. For another, look, it can't be undersold that he was a good locker. Like, the guys loved him and loved playing for him. And I think he resolved probably a lot of disputes internally because the guys respected him so much. That's not nothing in the NFL.
No, it's not. And look, I think some of my
especially when you have Matt Rhule right after, who I'm sure no one respected.
You know what? I would also say, especially when your boss is Dave Gettleman. Because I don't know, man. Like, to me, I look back at that era of Panthers football and say, what made that team great? Cam, the end.
100%.
Like, I don't even know that you really needed coaching. That's probably what is frustrating for a lot of Panthers fans about finally having another number one pick, first franchise quarterback.
Hiring an offensive coach.
Yes.
Which is something, I believe it's only the second time they've done. Seifert is the other. And did Seifert end up being bad. But that's, at least they tried. And that's the thing that I think frustrates a lot of people, is there are a lot of similar things that have happened throughout this franchise for a long time that everyone is tired of seeing. We're tired of seeing you have to burn a timeout in the first half or take a delay of game because you don't know what you're doing on offense.
That third, again, going back to the third offensive drive.
That was a Rivera special.
Was it third
Rivera
and second? Third and two, I mean?
Yes.
They take a take a delay on. Oh my God. That was like, and that's on Bryce. Right? Like, that's on the quarterback not getting the thing, not getting the play moving.
I wonder too, like, I'm not even joking because this happened so much with Cam and Rivera. And I think it was probably a little both in that instance, maybe more Cam. I don't know. But either way, it happened so much that people were like, can they not see the clock?
That's, when Bryce goes to, and this is why I say it's on Bryce. And this is to your point, like a really good question, because he's got them at the line. And he's calling out the cadence with 6 seconds on the play clock.
Here's my other thing,
too. How do you let it get all the way to 0?
Here's my other thing, too. How many options are we trotting out there with?
Yeah, good question.
We haven't seen many. Why is this so complicated?
Yeah.
Run the sad run play. Okay, break.
Yeah, that's the one.
Let's try to complete a pass downfield as everyone, okay, well, let's try it. Yeah. Ready, break. Like, that's it.
There is a second episode of this podcast every single week on Thursdays. Join me and a guest for the midweek talk through. We look back at what Bryce and the Panthers did on Sunday, and we talk about how it will relate to the upcoming game. Midweek talk through comes out every single Thursday on YouTube and on the podcast feeds. I wish I could preview a guest for you this week, but I have a yes from somebody and a maybe from someone more famous. So I
Hope neither listen.
yeah, well, I'm sure they don't.
Well, at least the less famous person.
Right. Right. So we'll see. We'll find out together on Thursday. And those of you that listen to the Tuesday podcast will know, oh, that's what happened. All right, Lauren, I want to circle back on that first drive because, again, I told you that there was never a point in this game where I thought they were going to win. And a big part of it was they settled for a field goal on that first drive. Like, I don't.
Well, that's what they do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say like it's hopeless, but man, the closer they got to the end zone, the more conservative the play calling got.
Yes.
And that's saying something because it's not like the play calling was wild before that.
The closer they got to the end zone, the more they acted like they wanted to be going the opposite way.
I would say.
I think they might be allergic to the paint.
Yeah, I mean, that is a very.
Only whatever end zone they're going towards, though.
Yeah, I mean, so that is a more, believe it or not, like as much as I know that's a joke, believe it or not, that is more believable than what I walked away thinking was, does Frank Reich think it's the fourth quarter and he's just trying to kill time? Because it's only the first. Because that drive, 15 plays, 61 yards, took almost 8.5 minutes off the clock. And I'm sorry, when you make...
At least we know they can take that much off.
For sure. But when you make that kind of progress, a field goal feels like nothing when you're already up.
No, for sure. And it does. Although even at that point, I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to watching them just trip over themselves in the red zone that I'm like, hey, they got points.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like, they're up 10-0. Kirk Cousins out here throwing pick sixes and being hilarious. This will be great. It's fine. We're not in Minnesota where a lot of the weird things happen. That's usually where you're getting a punt blocked.
Right.
I think the Panthers have gotten a punt blocked like their last 3 trips to Minnesota. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
So like that's where the really weird stuff happens. So I'm sitting there like, oh, Minnesota's not that good. Like, whatever. It's fine.
There were play calls on that drive, and we talked about the screens earlier, but like, I don't know that throwing a screen is one thing. Throwing a screen to Adam Thielen seems less ideal.
My issue was actually when they got the PI flag.
Yeah.
And then you get a fresh set of downs and you see Sanders twice. Sanders runs twice. And I said, I'm being trolled. Someone is trolling me. Someone reads my notes somehow. Someone through the internet has like found the keywords of like Sanders run. And they're like, that'll upset Lauren Brownlow. Let's dial it up. I mean, I'm joking, but like it feels like that.
No, it certainly feels that way. I mean, it feels like the closer they get to the end zone,
anything else.
The more they want to play like, how long can we hold on to this ball? Rather than just punch it in and score. And also, there is a very clear lack of trust of Bryce just going over the middle, no matter what part of the field they're in.
Well, then there's also the issue of like, they are, and by the way, when Brady Quinn's dunking on your offense on national television and is right.
Do you know how demoralizing? First of all,
because it was to me. I lost all my dignity in that moment.
So I thought about this. So on the midweek talk through last week, I had Sean Salisbury on, right? And he made the point that like, if you are, there's no reason for a Panthers fan to feel like a Jets fan, because if you are a Jets fan and watching Zach Wilson, he's been doing this for 3 years. You know what he is.
Well, sure, because people care about the Jets.
You're a Panthers fan watching Bryce go through this. He's 4 games into his career now, right? So he was saying it from a positive standpoint. But it is only days later that Brady Quinn says, this looks like Zach Wilson in New York. And it's like, man, how many times do we have to hear that name?
But he also said, like, they're one of the most, like, he called out that defensive coordinators are calling them extremely predictable, which, like, I mean, you know, to be fair, you or I could have said that. But we know how announcers are in these games. They love their relationships with the coaches.
Sure.
They don't want to piss any of them off. And they are so you know what? I appreciate Brady Quinn for calling this out, because how often do they gaslight you and try to be like, oh, you know, we're really seeing progress here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a bad play, but you know, they'll get it back. They won't get it back. They're terrible. Don't lie to me. I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you want that coach to like you, you don't have to lie and say this is going well when it isn't. So I appreciated Brady Quinn for that. But he was talking about how they run on first down all the time, which we've also, because I even said to you, I was like, maybe I'm just imagining it. Maybe it's not as often, but it is.
No,
it's almost every single time. And when you do it with a guy that's only getting you a yard almost every time, if that, you are setting yourself up for a 3rd and long almost inevitably. And to put a quarterback in that situation, when you don't want to throw the first 2 plays after the fresh set of downs. You just run Sanders up for nothing twice, and then you put him in an obvious passing down, because that's the other thing. They keep putting him in these obvious passing downs and being like, all right, get us out of this. It's like, so wait, you didn't trust him the whole rest of the series,
right?
But now you're putting him in like a 3rd and long and asking him to just go make a magic happen on the field? Like, y'all.
So this week, Bryce Young in his press conference has said 2 things that I wondered if the coaching staff probably had words with him afterwards. Number one, not knowing he was injured. That was what.
Do you mean no? He exposed the big lie.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah. No. Listen. I told you that last week, and you said you didn't want to do this.
No. Well, you know what? Because I didn't want to do it because it sounds conspiratorial and ridiculous, and it also seems like, why would they lie about this? I don't know, but they did. And he basically said that.
Lauren, it's not paranoid if people are after you. If people really are after you. The other thing he said that I wonder if the offensive staff.
He's like, I don't know when I got hurt. You got a high ankle sprain, bro.
Yeah.
Like, stop talking to me. And that's the thing with, and I'm not blaming Bryce as much because I'm sure he was put up to whatever. Although he was covering his own ass.
No, for sure
he wasn't going to go out there and lie.
Yeah.
And that was clear. So he was trying to be as careful as he could, but he's like, I'm not lying.
I'll tell you the other thing he said that, like, again, it's very much to your point of like, I'm not lying. Someone asked him early in the week about why, he wasn't looking at Hayden Hurst more. And he said, quote, that's a coaching thing. Like, they run the tight ends out there, and it became pretty clear.
Why did you get him?
Not only why did you get him, why do you bother hanging on?
So that Yahoo will rate your fantasy roster higher for its depth?
Why do you bother hanging on to Thomas and not letting him go if he's going to come in and be the second tight end? If every time he's on the field, aside from that one pass into traffic for some reason on the first drive, everyone knows you're not going to these guys.
He got an end zone target.
Yeah.
Randomly, I'm like, I'm sorry. Where was he? Was he even here?
He got an end zone target with a dude standing right in front of him.
Yes. Well, yes. But it's like, why do you have him if you're not going to use him? And he always pops up in the most random situations. I'm like, oh, I still sometimes forget because he was like barely used, if at all, for like years, like multiple years. And now all of a sudden he'll pop up, but it'll be in a situation where I'm like, I don't know that I want Ian Thomas being the dude. Right. Like, I'm sorry, he's a little rusty. Y'all haven't had him do anything in a while. Maybe we could ease him back into this whole catching of the football thing that we're doing. Instead, he's like out there in an important red zone play. And I'm like, I just don't get it. I don't understand.
We appreciate everybody that listens to and especially watches the show so that you can see Lauren go through this horror in real time. Wherever you are getting Young Gun, please take some time to like and subscribe and leave a comment, by the way. We have like nothing but great ratings on Apple Podcasts and 0 comments. One, pardon me. Tom, Mr. Workrate, thank you for your service.
Well, if it's Tom, I know he wouldn't tell me to get back in the kitchen.
No,
unless he was joking.
The rest of you, please tell Lauren that women have no business talking sports and give us 0 stars. We just need some interaction on that page. It's how more people find the show. So whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, please take time to rate, review, and leave a comment. All right, Lauren, you said that at least this game was not in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
You sure about that? Because boy, did it look and sound like it was.
Listen, what was that?
I don't want to fan shame because I am somebody that, like, as much as all of you listening and Lauren, you know, I love Alabama, right? I don't ever want to go to a game in Tuscaloosa. It's uncomfortable. Like, it's not as.
And would you go to any game in Tuscaloosa with your offense looking like that?
No, absolutely not. Like, and on top of that, like, I've become very comfortable watching football in my underwear with a blanket over me. You can't do that at a stadium.
Well, you could, but
so you could. You'd be asked to leave.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't want to fan shame of the way people.
My thing was more about Minnesota than the fan shaming because this is not a new story.
Yeah.
The Panthers fans giving their tickets away.
Right.
That's not a new thing. But I know.
I, by the way, in my old job, having to listen to stations around the country, this was a joke I heard on Pittsburgh radio. Of that, you could always get tickets for a game in Charlotte.
Pittsburgh's a different thing because they live here. Like, cool that you made your cute joke. What percentage of y'all's fan base is coming from there? They're not. They live here.
Right.
I know there are some transplants from Minnesota that live here. I don't think it's that, like, it's not like Ohio. It's not like Pennsylvania. It's not like New York. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like that for them. And so I'm like, and they're not super common of a team to like have jumped on the band. Although it happens, like obviously they had some really good years.
Mike Maniscalco.
I was gonna say, right, exactly. And then like, I mean, I liked them when they had like Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss too. Like, I mean, they were fun, but it's not a team you hear very often around here that like people pick up on the bandwagon. So I'm like, where are they coming from?
Here is the thing that I think you cannot discount about Minnesota is the NFC North. And I say this, by the way, as somebody that really, really likes Chicago and even likes Minneapolis to a certain extent.
Oh, the cities.
Yeah. People leave those cities all the time.
Oh, for sure. No, I'm not saying they don't. And like Chicago is another one where there's plenty. I mean,
here in Raleigh,
if there's a Bears game, like if the Bears played here, I'd be stunned if it weren't like mostly Bears fans at this point. Like Cowboys, obviously, too, similar reasons. Commanders, even, you will see at least a 50-50 crowd because that was the team a lot of people rooted for around here before the Panthers.
I know plenty of people that never made the switch. I guess my question is,
it's one evil for another for them.
That's fair. I guess the thing that I look at this and think is, and again, I don't want to shame any fans. You don't owe the franchise anything other than the money you paid. This has to be really demoralizing for A, rookie quarterback, and B, what is mostly a new roster of skill position guys. Like, it's rough, man.
Yeah, but okay. Do you think Thielen, Hayden Hurst, and Sanders, do you think they sit around together and look at themselves and they're like, we're great. Like, we are the difference. Like, they have to even know amongst themselves that
I don't, but
they're not a draw.
I do think you walk into that environment in your own stadium, and like Thielen and Hurst are really good examples. And I guess Sanders too, even though, he's not contributing much. There does have to be an element of, why did I come here? Like, nobody cares if we're good or bad.
Dimitri, I have that feeling sometimes watching the football games from my house where I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I am in pain.
Yeah.
I'm in pain watching this. I need an eye wash. I'm probably putting something toxic into my body by watching all these football games. And yet here I still go. And here's the other part of it too, right? Like, it is great that the defense is really good.
Sure.
Now. It's awesome. It's going to help them a lot. It's fun to watch. I adore them. I love them. I really do. But it is always going to be more difficult, no matter what level of football you're talking about, to watch your team struggle on offense than it is to watch your team struggle. Like, you see Carolina fans like UNC locally, you think they were sitting out games because their defense was trash last year? No, because they had a great quarterback.
Yeah.
They don't care about the defense. Yeah. I mean, they care, obviously, because it's going to keep you from a championship, right? Panthers are just trying to win games right now. They can't even move the football towards the painted area and get it in there sometimes. So how do you feel like you can go to a game and have any hope that your team's going to do anything?
And listen, I don't want to do I think fan shaming is this dumb, lame,
it's
stupid thing.
What do you really, you should shame them, the ones that continue to show up when your team, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It tells Dave Tepper, this is okay. This is completely acceptable.
I mean, I had that thought, no offense, like on the college level, a little bit about like the Virginia Tech people.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, it's cool. I know you guys love your school and that is awesome. And it's cool that you guys showed up like this in a night game where they need you and you guys got to win. And it's great. But at the same time, like, ooh, why?
I mean, a big part of that has to be like,
it's Blacksburg.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what else are we going to do in Blacksburg? We've already bought meth this week.
Oh my God. I'm not doing that. I haven't been there long enough to properly judge. I've only been to hoity-toity Charlotte.
Yeah. So. No, I've never been. I've
been to a game there, but we didn't stay.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. Right. I shouldn't say that. We just didn't have a chance to stay, but like, yeah.
I know it is so much more enjoyable to watch football from your house now. And I know that the people that watch this show, the people that call our buddy Mac on, Monday mornings, I know those people really care about the team. I'm not saying, like, even the Jaguars have fans, right? Now, many of them live in London, but even that team has fans. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get I don't know. I've never seen it that overwhelming before. To a team, to your point, that's like, that's not the Giants. That's not the Cowboys. That's not the Steelers.
David Tepper cares a lot about things like that. So I hope he feels embarrassed and ashamed.
I'm sure he'll book Jason Aldean and that'll make it all better.
Well, it's good that he brings music to Charlotte.
Sure. It never existed there before.
No, it didn't. And he brought music to the town.
Yes.
I'm sure they made a musical about this.
I want to say all the times I've seen Pearl Jam there, I thought I was in Charlotte.
Learned to love.
Turns out I was in a different dimension.
We're in Schmigadoon.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, I love that show. I love that show so much.
Sally bailed on the second season, so I haven't watched the entire second season, but I really enjoyed the first season a lot.
We get into Chicago.
Oh, I know. I saw the first episode.
That's what I start calling the Bears.
Chicago. Yeah, until they win a game.
Yeah.
Does that make Carolina Schmarlet?
The
Schmanthers?
No. Schmanthers works. The Screenthers, maybe until further notice.
The Screenthers quarterback by Schmung at the moment.
Yes, exactly.
God, it hurts my heart to say that. All right, this show is largely about the quarterback and the offense, but Lauren, we've got to talk about something good. Let's talk about the defense on Sunday because they looked awesome.
Yes, they did.
I mean, get they gave up touchdowns, but the good was so much better than the bad. And we need that right now, being married to watching this team.
Yes, they make me happy to watch. It's not enough to overcome how sad the offense is, but they're so fun. I mean, that pick six.
Oh, dude. Not only the pick six,
but the block.
The block.
The block on Kirk Cousins. I have watched it so many times.
Jeremy Chinn's sack.
Yes.
I mean, he
always plays well against the Vikings.
He came blazing out of the backfield.
Yes.
To make that play. And then the other thing I want to make note of, and I can do this because Justin Jefferson did not get hurt, but Jameson's hit on Jefferson when Jefferson had just been victimizing
that was
them.
Like, wow.
That was a message delivered that the defense needed to send. At that moment, my only complaint with the defense in the first half,
and they scored. Like there's nothing more you can ask of that defense. They scored as many touchdowns as the offense did.
Yes,
or actually more
touchdowns than the offense did.
More. Oh,
my only complaint about the defense in the first half, and this had nothing to do with the defense. It was that fumbled that fumbled snap that Kirk Cousins fell back on top of. Him giggling at the bottom of the pile is so demoralizing. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's because it's Kirk Cousins. I don't know if it's because of his dumb face.
Yeah.
But him giggling at the bottom of the pile was like, oh, that kind of feels insulting.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. You watch this and that's what stinks for this defense is you watch this Panthers team and you're like, okay, well, we know exactly what we have to do to beat them. Even if you're a terrible team, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Like the Vikings came into that 0-3.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All you have to do is sit on the run game. You're not scared of their receivers. So you just make sure nobody gets behind you, which is relatively simple. You're good. You just watch them just run into the line of scrimmage and fall down. And punt it.
Are we looking at are the Bears going to have picks number 1 and 2 this year in the draft? That didn't even dawn on me until you said Vikings also came in at 0-3.
I've been thinking about it.
Good Lord.
Yeah. It
sure would be nice to be in a position to get Marvin Harrison Jr.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. That's how you have to look at it, or else it's going to drive you insane.
No, I'm sorry. I just don't say that family name.
Oh, I see.
I know better. Marvin Harrison Jr. would be great.
Yes, but
any receiver. Well, did you see the Ian Rappaport report, though? The Ian Rappaport tweet
which one?
Was late last week, and it was basically like, Panthers are letting it be known that they're not rebuilding and they're contending for this year and they're going to try to make a trade for a wide receiver. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. Yes.
Trade implies you have something to give to your trading partner besides good cheer.
Here's a question for you.
And
if you're building or if you are competing for this year.
Yes.
What is your idea of a receiver worth trading for?
Also, what does that look like for you exactly? Yeah. This is before they were 0-4, but still they're 0-3.
Yeah.
Their offense is clearly going to be at least pretty pedestrian the rest of the year, even if you fix some of it.
Yeah.
Your defense is good, but everybody's getting hurt all over the place, and you probably don't have the depth to withstand a full. So what to what end?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm with you.
You're not in rebuild mode? Okay, what are you doing then?
Like, I get at the beginning of the year thinking we can compete for this year, but clearly the Buccaneers didn't take the step back we thought. You've already lost to both the Falcons and the Saints. Like, why have you not changed your mindset?
The universe is trolling me with the Baker Mayfield stuff. That's all I have to say.
It's demoralizing, right?
I hate every second of it, and I want it to go away. Anyways, that's fine. It's just like yet another thing to just stick under my fingernails.
Yeah.
And it's like, That's the thing. I watch other teams play football, and sometimes they seem to find the end zone.
Yeah.
And I go, well, that looks fun. Can't we do that a little more? And every week they say, maybe once or not at all. And I go, okay, why? What are we doing?
I worry you
can't even score points. Who are you going to beat to make a playoff run?
No, for sure.
When you cannot put points on the scoreboard.
Right. Before you start thinking about competing in the division, perhaps think about competing in a game. In a game.
Right. I mean, that could be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you should try it.
Are they going to mortgage their future the way the Rams did? Who, by the way, at least got a Super Bowl out of it. Are they going to mortgage their future the way the Rams did for Frank Reich to keep calling the offense the way he's calling it?
Because I certainly hope he's not going to call it the way he's been calling it.
That seems like a waste of your money.
That also seems like a waste of literally everyone's time on earth, including his own.
Yeah.
Why would you keep calling the offense this way?
Yeah.
Literally. I'm sorry. Why? Do you want everyone to think you're bad at it? Well, you're starting to accomplish that mission, sir.
Right.
Maybe this is a psyop.
Right. So far, I'm not seeing the Frank Reich that developed Carson Wentz for the 1 or 2 good years he had in Philadelphia. I'm seeing the dude that got fired in Indianapolis.
Right. And then literally seconds after the game, there's the dude I wanted. The last 2 coaching hires, offensive coordinating a team with a lot of the same limitations the Panthers have with the bad O-line. I think their best receiver is De'Ami Brown out of UNC. I like De'Ami. He was a great player in college. He's still like a good player in the NFL, but like, I don't think that's a guy you want as like your number one. I'm sure there's someone else that I'm not remembering their name. That's actually their number 1 receiver. Probably someone help me. I don't know. But either way, they have a lot of the same limitations. And you have a guy who's an offensive mind who is figuring out a way to adapt and make changes.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I'm like, are we doing any of that? No, you're still calling like the same 3 plays on a loop for eternity. Those are the only 3 plays I'll see like for the rest of my life.
I look forward to the Jeff Saturday era of Carolina Panthers football based on this Frank Reich being the one we get.
I mean, here's my thing. All I ever wanted was an offensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
That's, that about me.
Yeah.
Because I've had to watch all of these defensive-minded dudes express their open disdain for the offense. John Fox, hi.
Yes.
The other side of the ball. Not just a dislike, not just a dismissal. Offense.
Yuck.
I don't want to do any of that. We've had to watch that for years and years.
Yeah.
And like, as great as some of the defenses have been, and they have, it's so frustrating to watch your team not move the football. You feel like you're playing a different sport, especially now. Like, it's only gotten worse, compared to like early 2000s, whatever, like late 90s. To watch your team not move the football was not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
Because you could probably still win some of those. That's not happening now.
No.
You have to put points on the magical scoreboard. Why? Oh, I just want them to score touchdowns. Like, why? I don't understand it.